Welcome back to the Football Tragics. Obviously, we are here for one thing only. It's Matchday 34's review. I've got Campo, Mr. Reliable. He is here. I don't know if you're feeling worse than me, better than me. It kind of feels like a loss if you took a draw, but I'm also joined by Baxter, who we're not going to let him say too much, especially when it gets to the United-Arsenal game, because I think we've already had about 750 messages between us. But before we jump into, obviously, the games, boys, obviously, I don't know if you saw the game this morning, Champions League, Manchester City 4, Real Madrid 3, absolute cracker at the Etihad. Campo, what were your thoughts on that, and who do you actually think gets through that tie now that you've seen that?
I still think City, because they should have scored 9 goals this game. The amount of chances they had, clear-cut chances, they should have taken more than a 1-goal lead to the Bernabeu. People think that for some reason City won't be able to score there. They just press the shit out of Real Madrid, and they just create chances for fun. Same thing's going to happen over there. They're going to score goals, and I think they'll just outscore them in the end.
All right, and who is City playing in the final, Campo? Is it Liverpool? Is it Villarreal? Obviously, first leg in the morning.
Lo Celso scoring a hat-trick.
You know what? I will take that with a grain of salt. I don't want City to make it, but Campo, I'll throw it. Baxter, I'll throw it to you. Same question. Obviously, you saw the game this morning. What were your thoughts on that, and who do you think gets through that tie?
It was a great game to see from a neutral point of view. I did tip Chelsea to win the whole thing, but you can't beat that man Benzema up top, and the man's been left by his nation for how many years? So he's going to win him a World Cup soon. So Real Madrid to take it out, Liverpool to meet him in the final, and 2019 all over again.
All right, and one quick question before we jump into that early kickoff. If you didn't know, I'm trying to avoid it for as long as possible. But Campo, I'll go to you first. We've spoken about this before. It was a bit up in the air due to other players. Benzema, does he need to win this title to get the Ballon d'Or, to be in contention? Because obviously he has hit 40 goals for the first time in his career. The last time someone at Madrid had a season, at least it was Ronaldo, he did win the Ballon d'Or. Does he need to win this Champions League? And if he does win the Champions League, has he wrapped it up?
He's wrapped it up regardless. 40 goals. Salah, everyone said at the start of the season, on fire. He has fallen off dramatically the second half of the season. Just not scoring for fun anymore. Just, I don't know, that maybe that AFCON just shot his confidence from, hiding away from the penalties. I don't know. But I think it's Benzema's and all Lewandowski's.
Yeah, I mean, I'd chuck Mane in the mix. I think if you look at how many trophies he's won as a player this year and the teams he has been in, he has improved them. But I think Benzema's clear. Now, Baxter, are you giving it to the VAR that Mr. Handball that we'll get to in a second, or are you giving it to Benzema for Ballon d'Or?
Nah. Ballon d'Or, Benzema all the way, mate.
All right, well, we'll jump into what we're here. I can't believe I invited an Arsenal fan onto this podcast, but we'll jump straight into it. It's the early kickoff. We always say it's the shittest kickoff you can have. It's Arsenal 3, Manchester United 1.
I'll let you have
Campo,
the stage.
No, we're gonna let Campo go first. I know when we get to these handballs, so Campo, we'll leave that out of it. We'll get to that at the end of this game. Talk about the game as a whole and what you thought about that.
I thought Arsenal started better, and considering Maguire wasn't in the back line, you still looked out of place. Varane, who's meant to bring all this experience and leadership, he just, I don't know, that club seems to have just taken down a peg. He looks like he's playing for Burnley right now. But that first half, Arsenal deserved the lead. But then that second half, something switched in United. They were the more threatening team, the more creative team, pressing. And they should have scored 2 to 3 goals in that second half. But it is what it is. Arsenal probably do deserve it in the end. They were the better team over the 90. But missed chance for United, I think.
Baxter, talk me through your lineup, obviously, first. What you thought about the game.
The lineup was good for what we had. Obviously, we're still missing, Tomiyasu. We got Kieran Tierney still out. A few players elsewhere missing, and we've got a lot of youth on the bench. So it was good to see that we could go up against United. And with Campo's what he brought up before about Harry Maguire not being in there, in the last 6 games you haven't played Maguire, you've lost all 6 games. So is Maguire the problem, or is
we lose every week?
But like, is he the problem in the United backline, or is he, being pulled back because of his other centre back partnership? I don't know. That's for you to work out, and hand Targs to work out in 4 weeks' time when he takes hold of Manchester United. But mate, it was a great game, and that handball, all natural, I could say, and we could argue about that all night long. It was all natural. Hold on. This is what I'm going to say to the people who are following. When you're falling, where does your hand naturally go? They're always out in front. You stop the fall. And that's where Cedric's hands were at the time of hitting the ball. He gained no advantage from his hand being in the way. So play on. Great call from the VAR.
Baxter, did you watch the game? Before I put something up on the screen, did you watch the game?
I watched it from minute 1 to minute 90.
So when he falls, his hand starts like this. He then looks at the ball.
He's out there, man.
Hold on. He then looks at the ball, and if you don't think he's looking at the ball, we'll add this onto the screen right now. He's looking square at the ball. His arm is bent. So you're telling me
it's forward momentum. It's forward momentum. Like, he's judged it here. He's gone there. He's gone, yeah, right. I'll just do a little Phil Jones with the header, next minute, it hits his arm and no advantage. So play on, Manu in the mud.
So I'm looking at that. Which hand's natural? The hand that looks like it's about to snap because he's trying to feel
the hand that's like, it's his left. The one that's closest to the ball is his natural position. He's trying to pace himself there, boys. What more can you say? Look, the 50 grand went into a paper bag underneath the table. I don't know where it went after the game, but hey, great call, VAR. Great call.
Okay, before I chuck Mr. Campo to get his thoughts, and I already know what he's going to say because he blew up before I blew up in the inbox when it actually happened. You said he didn't gain an advantage. If he does not stop that ball with his hand, Sancho has a one-on-one shot on his preferred right foot, curling it into the top corner, which I think he's only scored 3 goals for United, and all 3 have been the exact same thing. So,
no, you're done.
You're done for a second. Campo, make some sense. Am I being biased here? Is Baxter being biased here? What did you think here?
The thing I think of is that, yes, he's fallen down. He can't control his arm. But if his arm isn't there, he's in on goal. He is 1-on-1. He's cutting in. It's just a grey area still. That's the only shit thing with his handball. It's a grey area because if he doesn't stop that with his hand, he's through on 1-on-1, and it's a clear chance. But the fact is, he stops it with his arm. In my eyes, it's a penalty from what I've seen all year. But it's just this grey area with handballs that we're never going to fix.
All right, obviously, Baxter, there is one more thing. I don't have the picture here, so I'm not going to throw you under the bus and pop a picture up here.
Fair enough.
It could have gone both ways. Me and Campo were discussing this off air before you joined the podcast. That last goal, absolute screamer. Now, I'm not taking anything away. I don't think De Gea saves it either way. But on the rules of the actual game, firstly, was Saka offside?
No, it's Eddie. It's Eddie Ketia. That was the
was
offside.
Eddie offside?
He is in the offside position.
You don't get to give an explanation. Hang on. Was he offside? You can get to your explanation. Was he offside?
No, because if you look at the replay, I'll be serious. You look at the replay from when the camera is behind Xhaka, so you can see his numbers on the back, and the shot goes through. You see De Gea, so he's standing at the ball. He leans this way to look at and see Eddie. Eddie's in front of him. He looks at the ball, and as soon as the shot goes, he starts drifting across this way. Now,
so what you're telling me is De Gea had to get around your player to see where the ball was coming from.
The ball was the shot was like well and truly outside the box. So, mate, if you're not saving it, get dumped and put Hendo in there because he would have had a go at goal and save that. But, mate, look, you got robbed at nothing.
That's all I wanted to hear.
You got robbed at nothing. You came to the Emirates. You lost 3-1. You go home crying, and you got Chelsea on the weekend. You're going to get battered there, mate. Just say it with me. Man United are in the mud. And that's it.
Man, I said that 16 weeks ago. Why do you want me to say it now? It's all these boys that have been going, no, you're still in the top 4 race, mate. I said it 16 weeks ago that we're done. The top 4 race is over. But Campo, I'll give you the last say on this match. And obviously we do have Chelsea coming up Friday morning. Does Bruno Fernandes need to have a week off? Now, Ronaldo's absolutely scored an absolute brilliant goal. Fair play to him. Obviously dedicated it to the child that he lost. I think the whole football world was mourning that death. Obviously, they were with him on that. But at 2-1, you step up to take a penalty. The last time Bruno took a penalty off Ronaldo, we know what happened. It landed in row W up in the moon somewhere. So, obviously, should Ronaldo have taken it? And do you think that was more of a, I'm the captain, I'm taking the penalty on the day? Or do you think it was, I'm low on confidence, let's give him the ball?
I think Ronaldo was just saying, yeah, this is your team. He signed a 5-year extension, I think. So he's going to be there for the next 5 years. I think Ronaldo's just knows that he's down on confidence, down in form. Just take it, get some form. But it's just thrown him even more of a hole, in my opinion. Ronaldo there, I think he should have been the leader and said, look, I'm going to take this. I'll get us level. If there's another one, if there's another chance, you can have it. Just he has to be the leader of that group there and say, I'm taking this. I'm bringing this level.
Yeah, 100%. And obviously, I did say Camp, I could have the last say back. So you've got 10 seconds before we move on because we are 11 minutes into a big match round and we've spoken about Arsenal and United. So wrap us up. Do you think top 4's sealed? Obviously, with the games coming up, you do have a few big games left. You have got past Chelsea. You have got past United now. As Gattuso says, sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit. That's how your season's gone. That's how Spurs' season gone. Do you think you have enough now to secure that top 4?
Yep, I think we have enough to get 4th place outright, and the boys are getting back healthy, and we'll challenge in the North London derby.
All right, and now I feel sick, so we're going to move on to a game that was an absolute ball fest. Obviously, Leicester 0, Aston Villa 0. Campo, we spoke at the start of the year, and I can't remember if it was you or Morty. A few of you did put Leon Bailey as the potential flop signing of the year. Now, he probably arguably had the best chance of this game. It came quite late. He blazed it over the bar. Obviously, growing up, Baxter, we played with each other, always taught, if you get that ball back on the penalty spot, place it in the corner, do not go for power. The keeper won't save it now. Campo, who's the happy here? Obviously, Leicester, Villa, both safe. Leicester do have another comp to worry about, but who should have taken home the chocolates here if you want to talk about it in that sense?
Villa probably should have. I think Steven Gerrard started his managerial reign like a house on fire. But ever since then, he's kind of been underwhelming, in my opinion. I think both teams will just be happy, take the point. Leicester moved forward into this semi-final European fixture. And Villa, they're just going to get to the summer and just reinvest again, new players, the players that Steven Gerrard want, and go again next year.
100%. And Baxter, he just obviously alluded to it. The honeymoon stage started like Villa were going to somehow scrape Europe. That's how it started. They came in firing. Coutinho came in like a masterclass. Bailey was not poor, but he was a lot better than what he is playing now. Obviously, Watkins is back. They had heaps of players there. What were your thoughts on this game? And who do you think? Let's look forward 12 months and we're sitting here. Who do you think's in a better position out of Leicester and Villa next season?
We'll start. I think Leicester, obviously, being in that Conference League and having a hot chance of winning it next year, so they'll be in Europa League. But don't underestimate Stevie G. He came into a club that had a very limited transfer budget with the spendings they did in the off-season. And, look, just give him another 12 months, and maybe this time they're not sitting where they are. Maybe they're in around the 10th, maybe 9th position. Give it a little bit of time and get these new players a while to gel. I know it has been like 10 or whatever so months, but Rome wasn't built in a day nor a year. So just give them time, and hopefully they come out of it on the greener side.
100%. And we'll finish this game off with me. Gerard's a cat. He ran away from Ange Postecoglou and he knew he wasn't going to win the Scottish League. So he went running.
Scottish Cup.
Angie's taking out the league. Rangers might take the cup, but where you think where they were, Baxter, I know you obviously look into that a lot more. Angie's done a brilliant job, and it wouldn't surprise me in a couple of years' time if we do see him at a lower tier Premier League team. I think he's got the capabilities to get in. He's shown he can do it in multiple leagues, and as an Australian, like that would be absolutely brilliant to see. But we'll move on. It's not very often you say your rival, your crosstown rival, wins a game, and it brings you some joy after what happened to you. But Manchester City 5, Watford 1. Driving home, all I could think in my head is we've lost top 4 to Arsenal. Liverpool's going to go top of the league, and I get home, I sit down, I was in the city, and it's 3-0 City. And I'm not going to lie, there was a smile that came across my face, as bad as that sounds. Now, Campo. Actually, no, let's go Baxter first. Baxter. Less than 12 hours before this game, Gabriel Jesus is linked to Arsenal. He goes out and puts on a masterclass. Do you think that was a message of stuff Haaland? I get he's coming in, but I can still offer to this squad? Or was it just one of those games where everything falls right and you just tap in those 4 goals?
Yeah, as you said, obviously Jesus was heavily linked, and there was a possible talk between Arteta and him. Haaland coming in with that big wage demand per week. So, look, if we sign him 4 goals a game, I wouldn't be complaining at all. But is he in the right headspace? Yeah, does he still want to compete at City and make that striker role his number 1 position, or is he going to have to play second fiddle on the bench and become as a rotation for Pep? We'll just have to wait and see in the July-August transfer window.
And a City taking out the title for you, Baxter, or Liverpool?
I'd rather City win the title and Paul win the Champions League, because I wouldn't want to see City win the Champions League at all. So, yeah, that's about it.
Okay. I'd rather Madrid win the Champions League and City win the league. But Campo, obviously, first of all, who do you think's winning the league? I think I know your answer. Morty's not here to rub it in, so we don't have to go into too much depth, and he gets a little whingy on the side. But what were your thoughts on this game? 5-1, City versus Watford. It's kind of what we expected to see.
Well, I predicted 6-0, so I wasn't too far off. But I don't think I've ever seen a player score just only rockets like Rodri. Every single one of his goals, I think, in his whole career in the Prem, they've just been world-class, just long-range bangers. But again, training run, just getting them in the motions, just, I don't know what to say. It's just comfortable. They're going to win the league. Easy as that.
Obviously, we have bagged out the refs. I've got to give ref credit there. Obviously, they could have given a free kick to De Bruyne. I'm glad you brought up that goal, because absolute worldie it was from Roger. But we saw it in the Champions League again this morning. A referee that played that advantage to the book, and both times City have capitalised. So if you're a player out there and you're watching this, that shows you if you go down, continue. Play to that whistle. You don't know what chance is going to come. But absolute worldie, great performance. Now we go to another shit show team versus a team that's probably the most informed team. Newcastle moving to the top half of the table. Brilliant football by them. Norwich, we'll see you in 12 months when we're saying Norwich are welcome back to the Premier League. But I don't know what to say. Obviously, we sat here when Newcastle got taken over and they lost a few games. They drew a few games, and we were like, I really hope they go down. But I now look at Newcastle and I go, they've done it the right way. They haven't gone out and spent $600 million in the January transfer window and tried to sign a shit ton of players. They've signed certain players. They've signed what they needed, and they're safe. And if there was 6 more weeks in his season, they'd probably finish in a European position. So fair play to him. Chris Smith, if you're listening, you can give me my money later for that talk up of Newcastle. Campo, what were your thoughts, obviously, on this 3-0 win? And are you happy to see the end of Norwich for another year?
I just don't want Norwich to come back. Give us someone new. Give us some Sheffield Wednesday. Let them come back up. Just something new. Yeah, comfortable again. Norwich, they're down. They have nothing to play for. I'm just surprised Joe Linton turns up for anyone else but us. And I'll tell you what, that signing from Newcastle, Bruno, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name. But
Gimenez. Gimenez sounds better. Gimenez.
What a player. Like, to go to it, he had big big weight on his shoulders coming to that club to pull them out of this relegation battle, bring them up, and then start this surge of, taking over, going to win games, going to make Europe. He is the perfect leader for that club going forward.
Yeah, 100%. And obviously Baxter, Norwich, they're not mathematically gone just yet. I don't see him surviving. I think we've said that since about round 5. If they pull it off and Burnley pull it off, I'm giving up on the Premier League for a year. So we are going to welcome back, obviously, Norwich 2.0. It is called Fulham. And in true Fulham form, they have already got promotion and they've lost 3 of their last 5. So they're getting ready for their Premier League return, and they'll be switching with Norwich in 12 months. But what were your thoughts on this, Baxter, and then obviously Newcastle as a whole moving forward?
I think it's a great whole. The whole thing is just good for Newcastle. Obviously, Norwich were on their way down and got overtaken. Eddie Howe comes in, which I really, really rate him as a manager. His time with Bournemouth. You just look at the stats: 83% possession, passing possession. They've got big names coming up, and I think they can take out all of them. They've got City away, and I reckon City in for a handful here. And as you said, give them 6 more weeks, and they're pushing Europa. And if they continues on this next season, I think it's another team to contend with.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, you have dropped the gun a bit quickly there, Baxter. They've got Liverpool this week. They've got City in a couple of weeks. So yes, Liverpool will travel. They will travel and play Newcastle this weekend. So fingers crossed they can pull a result and just piss off that Liverpool fan Morty just a little bit more. But Campo, I've got my pillow ready. It's Brentford 0, Tottenham 0. Tottenham had 0 shots on target. Nice and quickly, because you've already told me that you're asleep for most of this game. So don't be talking shit about how you dominated the game now. What were your thoughts on this game?
We got battered. Ericsson, god damn. Just come back to us, please. They realistically should have won. They hit the post twice. They were all over us. Their press was incredible. It looked like we just rolled up there thinking, Brentford, we put a bit of pressure on them last time and they cracked. Let's do it again. Ericsson, he's probably just changed that mindset of that team. People are lifting to play with him, but just a poor game overall. Maybe we just thought we could walk into this top 4, but typical fashion, no one wants it at the moment. Everyone, when they're in 4th place, it's like the worst place to be. You just bottle it. Every single club that's in 4th just cracks it. So I'm glad we're not in 4th right now. I'd rather be the chaser than the ones that have the pressure on us. But time will tell.
I would love to be in 4th right now. If you want to switch positions, either of you two, we would gladly take it. We'll take your points and we'll go into 4th. Bax, obviously, you've got to be happy with this result. Besides, obviously, a Tottenham loss, which I don't think many of us expected. The draw was the next best result for Arsenal here.
Yeah, I stayed up for 2:30 to watch this game, and what a snooze fest. Both teams played defensively. Look, you got Brentford 15 shots with 2 on target, 9 shots for Spurs and 0 on target. Lloris probably could have gotten a red. I don't know. It was just, at first looking at it, I called it a red, but after viewing it, I could have said, happy yellow there. But drop points for Spurs, and happy. How's 5th going, Campo?
Just wait 2 weeks.
Campo, can you remind me why we brought this guy onto the podcast? Like, first he bags me out, now he bags you out. We'll move on. Obviously,
where's Campo? Not Campo. Where's Aaron? I want to have him. Give him.
You know what? I'm happy with Aaron at the moment, and the next 2 games are going to show you why I'm happy, because it's kept us in a Europa League spot rather than a Conference League spot. So, Burnley 1-0. We sat here when they fired Mr. Sean Dyche. We said, what a shit show. We hope they go down. But Baxter, does this result and their performances in the last couple of weeks show you that, okay, maybe Burnley can offer something to the Premier League now that that decade of Dyche is gone and they're going to play a different style of football?
Yeah, they played, almost 10 years under Dyche, bringing him up, and really stamped his authority and his style of play onto the Premier League and to the boys of a shithousery game. Burnley just seem to tick over the new page and drop points for Wolves, and yeah, hopefully you get in Europa next year. We did speak about
100%.
that
And
off the topic. Yeah, we talked about who gets Europa, who gets conference. There is a big discussion whether it's 9 teams or 8 teams go through if Leicester and City and West Ham win their respective cups. So it's not over until the fat lady sings.
Yeah, obviously there's a lot of things obviously still get spoken about. I do know that if City or Liverpool win the Champions League, that means nothing. There is no extra spots in that Champions League for the Premier League. It will stay at 4. Campo, big result for Burnley.
Yeah, we said on our preview, we said this is just going to be one of those games at this type of season. Burnley will get up for this, win, and just shithouse a win, and that's what happened. We're at the funny stage of the season now where these relegation clubs, they are fighting tooth and nail for every point, and they got their points. So good on them. It makes the relegation race really interesting. So go Burnley.
Okay, let's not go that far as saying go Burnley, but we will move on. Obviously, Aaron is not here. It wasn't the prettiest performance. They probably did deserve 2 drop points here. Now, do you ever sit there, your team misses a penalty and you kind of go through that little heartbreak? I couldn't give a shit about Chelsea. I couldn't give a shit about West Ham. But do you know how many flashbacks of the World Cup qualifiers I got when Jorginho stepped up and scuffed that penalty? Like, it genuinely hurt. Like, I felt like I was watching United miss another penalty. It broke my heart. So, you know what? Fair play to Chelsea. They got the goal. It makes it a very interesting game moving forward for West Ham when they take on Arsenal. All 4 of their centre-backs are either suspended or injured. So let's see who they chuck in that centre-back position. But Campo, both London teams, you probably don't like either of them. But obviously a good result for Chelsea. Almost all but shores up they will play Champions League football next year. And as a club in turmoil, I've got to clap them and say fair play. They went through that rusty stage. They bounced back. But what were your thoughts on this result?
Good result for Chelsea. Talk about saving it to the last minute. But again, I just don't understand why he takes penalties. He's so predictable now. I just think keepers know wait an extra second. You can see which way he goes. And he doesn't kick him that hard enough where you can't get down to save it. But again, this just ensures West Ham don't make top 4. The Premier League route. So the only way they can is just put all eggs in the Europa League basket, and that's what they can do now.
Yeah, and also massive shout out to David Moyes. He's done a great job with that squad. He's going to continue to do a great job, and it wouldn't shock me if they do go out. They go into Champions League, and it wouldn't surprise me if they shock a few people in that Champions League in the group stage. But Campo, you talk about Backstay. You talk about obviously commentators' curses. We hear it all the time. It's a commentator's curse. You almost knew Jorginho was going to miss this penalty because as he's lining it up, it's Chelsea. They've taken 12 penalties this year. They've made all 12. He hasn't missed a penalty all year for Chelsea, and he steps up and does that. It's the same speech they gave for Italy. It's the same result that he got for Italy now. Backstart, new penalty taker needed, and what are your thoughts on this game?
Well, that was the question I was going to ask you. If Jorginho is taken off pens, who do you replace him with in that starting lineup? Like, what, Werner or Lukaku, or do you give it to Appy, or I really don't know. The red card, I don't think it was a red card deservingly. I think it was a yellow at best, and just Chelsea get that Champions League group. What else?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like you said, you look at the players that play every week. It could go to Mount, it could go to Havertz. You could just give it to whatever strikers on the pitch to try and get a bit of confidence into him. But, I mean, he is their penalty taker. We'll see how long they do stick by him. And I think if there's one happy man more than what Aaron is, it's Jorginho after they got that winning goal. But we'll jump into another one who, when he gets a free kick, it pretty much is a penalty. It's James Ward-Prowse. It's Brighton 2, Southampton 2. I think it was Morty. I don't know if it was you, Camp, but I think it was Morty, so I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. He tried to tell me when I said about 6-7 weeks ago, he's the best free kick taker in the world. He tried to bring Messi into the equation. Are we in agreement that Ward-Prowse is, at this current time, if you've got a free kick, 91st minute, you need a goal. You're calling up Prowsey.
Yes.
He has to be. He has to be in this World Cup squad. He has to be.
But do you start him? Do you start him though, and hope you get a free kick early on for England to go 1-0 up?
You can start him. You can bring him on as a sub. He doesn't let you down regardless. He works hard for every team. He rips in. He's just a really good player.
Yeah, 100%. I look at Prowsey, Baxter, to your point, as a player that he's in a system where they do get picked apart a lot. We know that they produce quality players. They get picked apart. And he's still performing week in, week out, no matter who's with him, who's against him. So I think there's all argues. Get him into the squad, see how he goes when he's in that squad. But I think if you start him, if you don't start him, like Campo said, he's not going to let down the squad. So, Baxter, I'll ask you, Southampton, will they have a battle on their hands to hold on to Prowsey now? There is contracts. They have contracts. But what is a contract this day when people can throw away hundreds of millions of dollars? Can you see anyone going after Prowsey?
Not really. No one that really needs him. You might want him, but there's a difference between wants and needs. And Southampton both need and want him. So I think he stays. I think he stays. He's a Saints boy, and he won't let him down. He'll just, that's it. Rumors will be rumors, and he'll be out there with Southampton next season. So yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, no shock with this result. It could have gone either way. Doesn't really mean much to the overall outcome of the Premier League, but a result that does mean a lot to the outcome of the Premier League. You said United are in the mud. There's 50 metres, and then there's this team. It's Liverpool 2, Everton 0. Everton into the relegation. They do have a game in hand. You look at their fixtures. You're giving them... I'm going to say I'm giving them like 2% chance of survival looking at their fixtures compared to the other teams now. Campo, 2-0. You take the win. Against a team like Everton, is this a bad result? Should Liverpool have gone on and put 4, 5, 6 like we would have seen if it was... And I can't talk too bad about Everton because they did beat us 1-0 a couple of weeks ago. So I've got to be mindful in what I say. But was this a good result for Liverpool? And
it's a good result. It's 3 points. At Derby, Everton are going to get up for this game. Form kind of goes out of the window in a Derby. What did you guys think about Lampard's comments about Gordon going down and getting booked for diving? But if that's Salah, it's given as a pen.
I think the top teams
Baxter, I'll let you go first.
Oh, sorry. I reckon the top teams get more of the green of the rub due to VAR or the referees compared to the lower teams.
You said that in the weirdest possible... I'm jumping in. You said that in the weirdest possible way. The green of the rub. It's the rub of the green, Baxter. The rub of the green, not the green of the rub.
Look, it's 8:30 and I'm just ready to hit the wall. Nah, look, I think, basically what I said, I think the top teams get more lucky on those calls and the bottom teams obviously get the opposite end. I don't think it was a dive and Lampard was right in calling it out.
Yeah, I do agree. I think the big teams do get the calls here. Now, I think what goes against Everton, there has been 12 yellow cards for diving this year. 6 of them are to Everton players. So if I'm a VAR or if I'm a referee, that's in the back of my mind. They have done this before. They're in a relegation scrap. And you know what? Fair play to Everton, because if that's me in that relegation battle and I feel contact, I'm going down.
I don't think it should. I don't think it should come into the referee's mind at all. Like last week, or last season, like earlier this season. It doesn't matter if
it's a close call. If it's a close call though, Baxter, and it's 50-50, and you've got 6 dives already in the season.
But it shouldn't go down to that. It should just be called what you see, what it is. It should be a defender or a player goes down because B's tackled him or it looks close. Well, regardless of if it was the opposite way, if it's Liverpool going down, definitely anybody's going to call it. So I think Lampard was right to call it out because referees shouldn't have that in the back of their mind, regardless of what happened last week. You could have refereed them last week, and something could have been said, and you've taken it to heart and whatnot, and you come into this game and you give him a red. Like last week. Whatever's happened early in the season, whether it's 6, 16, 60 dives, it's just you you call what you see, and I think, yeah, as I said, Lampard is right for calling it out.
I agree. Kind of like United should have had that penalty in the first half. But moving on to the last game of the round, it is Crystal Palace 0. It is Leeds 0. It's not a bad result for Leeds. It gets them another point away from relegation. I think it's 5 on the bounce without a loss. They haven't picked up big points. It is a lot of draws, but it's safe to say that this coach has got to move in the right direction. This is the same thing we spoke about Burnley. They've obviously gone. They sacked Bielsa. He was bringing the club down. This coach has come in. People laughed at him. They called him the next Ted Lasso with his assistant because it was someone that nothing had ever seen. You bring him into a huddle. You have a bit of a talk after the game, and everyone laughed at it. But Baxter, it's working. It's probably all but going to keep them up now. And a team with the stature of Leeds, the history of Leeds, the fan base of Leeds, they should be a top team. And I've got no doubt saying they will be there in the next year or two. They will stay up. They will stay up next year, and they're going to move towards that top 10 because that's where they should always be now. What are your thoughts on Leeds, the coach, and obviously this very boring result?
Look, it could have gone either way. Vieira could have won the game and 3 points to Palace, but I think Leeds are just sort of filling out the shoes of the new boss, just seeing how he goes and seeing how he coaches. Obviously, he's got to get to know his players well and what makes him tick, what makes him get up. But, hey, if this new style of bringing him into a huddle after the games and having a little chat afterwards about what you could have done better or something, whatever they want to talk about, if it's working, it's working. You don't change. You don't fix something that's working perfectly.
Yeah, 100%. In Campo, obviously, I'll let you wrap us up here with the Crystal Palace Leeds. It was a bit of a snore fest. It could have gone either way. In the end, it finished 0-0. Both teams, who gives a shit? Really, if you're looking at it, Leeds would have wanted to win more, but unfortunately, give it their attention now turned to a very tired and fatigued Manchester City, where they can determine the title race and save their future in the same week. But Campo, what were your thoughts on this match? What are your thoughts on Leeds moving forward?
This match was very wasteful for Palace. They probably were the better team and deserved the 3 points. Leeds will take a point 100% because it just keeps pushing them out of that relegation battle. They're a little bit out of it, but who knows? Everton might just suddenly turn up and, Leeds are back right in the mud. So any point they can get, the better.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, boys, that is the round. We have a big game coming up, obviously, Friday. So I will get your quick prediction just quickly, obviously, just on that one round because I don't know when we'll have Baxter on next. Baxter, Chelsea, United. Let's go with your heart because obviously United winning, Chelsea winning, it could determine if you finish third or fourth. Doesn't really matter. And then what you think the result's going to be in the scoreline.
Look, my heart says Chelsea to win. Obviously, that keeps you guys down and we're in no arm's reach of Chelsea, so that's fine by it. But my heart would love to see a 1-1 draw. Ronaldo, Pen, maybe. I don't know. Maybe Bruno. Look, I don't know. I'd love to see Man United get up because you do get up for these games, but a 1-1 draw would be happy for me.
We talk about getting up for these games. Fucking United, if you're listening, get up for this game because it is getting very hard to stay up for your games and watch them week in, week out. Campo, just in case you're not on the preview for that one, Chelsea, United, what's your thoughts on that game and what's the result?
Don't really care about it, to be honest. I just think Chelsea have too much. United are just in this weird hole right now and they just can't seem to get out. Unless they're versus Norwich. But I'm going to go Chelsea 2-0.
All right. And like I said on my tweet earlier today, you got a Champions League that could be City-Liverpool. You've got the league that's City-Liverpool. You've got the FA Cup that's Chelsea and Liverpool. You've got Liverpool who's already won a title, so I couldn't give a shit about the rest of this Premier League season. Get it finished. Get Eric Ten Hag in. Guys, thank you for joining me. We have been the Football Tragics. If you like what you heard, hit like, hit subscribe. But guys, have a good